As you settle into rest tonight, allow your breath to soften and your mind to gently open. There is nothing you need to achieve, only a space to receive. What if the suffering you carry, the restlessness that lingers just beneath the surface, is not a flaw, but an invitation? For over 2,500 years, the teachings of the Buddha have illuminated a simple yet profound truth: that our struggles are not caused by life itself, but by the way we see it. Hidden behind the noise of thought and habit is a clarity that can transform everything. Like a fog lifting at dawn, a deeper vision begins to reveal itself, not dramatic or loud, but steady, quiet, and kind. Some of these insights may challenge what you've always believed. One teaching, in particular, touches the deepest fear we carry, the fear of losing our very self. But in that surrender, something unexpected happens. What falls away is not your essence, but the illusion that kept you from truly knowing it. In this first part of our journey, we'll gently explore what the Buddha discovered beneath the Bodhi tree. Truths so simple they can be spoken in a breath, and yet so vast they can reshape a lifetime. You don't have to believe anything. Just listen. Just breathe, and allow these timeless truths to meet the deepest places in you that are ready to wake up. The Four Noble Truths, the gateway to inner freedom. Understanding the truth of suffering, its cause, the possibility of its cessation, and the path leading to freedom. In the quiet of the night, let us begin where the Buddha began, with four simple truths that change the course of human understanding. They are not beliefs to be accepted blindly, but reflections to be explored in the stillness of your own heart. The first noble truth is that life contains suffering. This is not pessimism, it is honesty. We grow old, we get sick, we lose those we love. Even moments of happiness carry with them a subtle fear that they will end, and they always do. There is a quiet dissatisfaction that runs beneath our striving, a restlessness that no success or possession can seem to cure. This is dukkha, the unease of life as it is. But the Buddha did not stop there. The second noble truth asks us to look deeper. What causes our suffering? Not life itself, but our resistance to it. We crave pleasure. We cling to comfort. We demand that things go our way. We want what we love to stay and what we hate to disappear. This clinging is like grasping at smoke. It can never be held, and in that grasping, we suffer. The third noble truth offers something extraordinary. Suffering can end, not by changing the world, but by changing our relationship to it. When we let go of the need for life to be different, peace arises naturally. We begin to meet each moment with softness rather than struggle. Like leaves falling from a tree, suffering begins to fall away. The fourth noble truth is the path that leads us there. The Noble Eightfold Path. It is not a rigid formula, but a gentle guide, a way of living that brings clarity, compassion, and balance. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Each step supports the next, like spokes on a wheel turning toward freedom. These truths are not distant ideals. They are a mirror held up to your life. As you rest tonight, feel into them, not as philosophy, but as lived experience. Notice where you grasp, where you resist, where you soften. This awareness is the beginning of wisdom, and wisdom, once awakened, cannot be taken away. Let each breath you take tonight carry you gently along this path, toward a peace that does not depend on anything but your own clear seeing. Interconnection. Nothing stands alone. Nothing exists independently. All things arise through countless conditions, a web of interconnected causes and effects. Tonight, let us gently enter a truth so vast, so quietly powerful, that it can transform the way you see everything. The Buddha called it dependent origination, the understanding that nothing exists in isolation. Imagine a spider's web glistening with morning dew. Touch one strand, and the entire web trembles. In just the same way, your life, your body, your thoughts, your joys and struggles arises from a vast web of causes and conditions. The clothes you wear, the food you eat, the air you breathe, all are made possible by countless unseen hands, natural forces, and moments that stretch far beyond what you can trace. Nothing comes from itself. Nothing lasts by itself. Nothing ends by itself. Even your very sense of you is not separate. Your memories were shaped by others. Your language was taught. Your emotions are responses to relationships. What you call self is more like a river, formed by rain, mountain, sky, and earth, ever-changing, never truly separate from the world around it. This understanding invites something beautiful: humility, gratitude, compassion. When you truly see that the person who frustrates you is also a product of conditions, their pain, their upbringing, their unmet needs, you begin to soften, not because harm is excused, but because you recognize that they too are entangled in the web, just like you. And when you extend kindness to others, you are not just doing good. You are strengthening the very web that supports your own life. Generosity is not self-sacrifice. It is self-care in the deepest sense. Even in loss, this view offers comfort. Those we love never truly leave us. Their kindness echoes in the way we love others. Their wisdom shapes how we walk through the world. We are never alone. We are woven together. As you settle into sleep, feel this vast web supporting you, the ground beneath you, the breath around you, the lives that touch yours in quiet, invisible ways. You do not have to hold everything alone. You are already being held. No self and the illusion of a permanent identity. The self is not a fixed entity, but a process of ever-changing physical and mental phenomena. Close your eyes for a moment and ask, who am I? You may point to your thoughts, but thoughts come and go like clouds, shifting, dissolving, never lasting. You may look to your body, but even now, cells are dying and renewing. Your body today is not the same as it was last year. You may turn to your memories, but they fade, distort, and vanish. So where exactly is the self? The Buddha offered a radical insight. The self, as we imagine it, is an illusion, not in the sense of being non-existent, but in the sense of being constructed, impermanent, and constantly changing. What we call me is a flowing process, not a fixed identity. He compared it to a chariot. A chariot is made of wheels, an axle, a frame. Remove the parts, and where is the chariot? In the same way, we say I, but the I is just a label we give to the collection of body, feelings, perceptions, thoughts, and consciousness, each of which is rising and falling moment by moment. This truth can feel frightening at first. If there's no fixed self, then what am I protecting? What am I striving to prove? But stay with it, because behind the fear is freedom. Freedom from the inner critic that says, I'm a failure. Freedom from the story that says, "I'll always be this way." Freedom from the ego that clings to praise and resists change. When you stop trying to maintain a rigid identity, you become fluid, open, alive. You're no longer trapped in who you were yesterday. You can grow, you can let go, you can forgive. And just as you are not a fixed self, neither is anyone else. The person who hurt you is not unchangeably bad. They are a stream of conditions, like you, shaped by causes they may not even understand. This doesn't excuse harm, but it invites compassion. As you rest tonight, let go of the need to define yourself. You are not your titles. You are not your mistakes. You are not your fears. Beneath all of it is something spacious, awake, and free. Not a thing, not an identity, just pure, luminous awareness, peaceful and untouched. Impermanence. Seeing through the illusion of solid reality. Everything is in flux. Suffering arises when we cling to what is inherently unstable and transient. What if the world you see is not quite as solid as it appears? The Buddha taught that reality, as we ordinarily perceive it, is an illusion, not because it doesn't exist, but because we misunderstand its nature. We see permanence where there is only flow. We see separation where there is only connection. We see solidity where there is constant change. Look around you. The mountain seems still. The body seems familiar. Your thoughts feel like yours. But look closer. The mountain is eroding grain by grain. Your body is replacing itself cell by cell. And your thoughts, they arise and vanish like waves, like wind, like dreams. Everything is changing, always. And yet, the mind craves stability. We cling to youth, success, relationships, and comfort, hoping they'll last, but they don't. And in that clinging, not in the change itself, lies our suffering. The Buddha compared life to a movie. It seems fluid and continuous, but it's really a stream of flickering frames, passing too quickly to grasp, or like a dream, convincing while it lasts, yet gone the moment we wake. This teaching isn't meant to frighten, it's meant to free. Because when you see that no moment lasts, you don't have to hold so tightly. You don't have to resist endings or chase beginnings. You can meet joy with gratitude, knowing it's precious. You can meet pain with patience, knowing it will pass. Even the most difficult emotions, grief, fear, anger, are not permanent states. They are weather patterns passing through the sky of awareness. You don't need to stop the storm. You simply need to remember, you are not the storm. You are the sky, unchanging, open, and vast. As you rest tonight, allow this truth to settle softly within you. Nothing stays the same, and that's okay. In impermanence, we find beauty. In letting go, we find peace. So breathe deeply. Release the need to hold on, and let yourself be carried by the gentle river of change, trusting that even as everything shifts, the essence of who you are remains untouched. The mind as creator. How thoughts shape reality. It is not what happens to us, but how the mind interprets and reacts to it that determines our experience of suffering or peace. Two people stand beneath the same rainy sky. One feels peace, grateful for the nourishment falling from the heavens. The other feels frustration, upset that the day didn't go as planned. The rain is the same, but their worlds are not. The Buddha taught a profound and liberating truth. It is not events that create your suffering or happiness, but the mind's interpretation of them. Your mind is not just a passive observer, it is a painter, a storyteller, a world builder. Like an artist choosing colors and shapes, your thoughts add tone and texture to your experience. They tell you what things mean, who you are, and what is possible. And yet, we often forget we are holding the brush. A setback becomes a catastrophe because the mind paints it so. A quiet evening becomes loneliness because the mind calls it lack. But with awareness, the same mind can paint healing, spaciousness, even beauty in the very same moment. This isn't to deny real challenges. Pain, loss, uncertainty, they come. But how we meet them is shaped by the stories we tell. You can meet traffic with anger or with patience. You can meet illness with despair or with courage. You can meet your own mistakes with shame or with compassion and resolve. The difference lies in how your mind frames the experience. The Buddha compared the mind to a magician, conjuring entire realities from mere thought. When unaware, we fall for the illusion, believing every fearful story it spins. But when we begin to observe, with mindfulness and gentleness, we gain freedom. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that can choose which thoughts to follow and which to let dissolve like morning mist. Tonight, notice what stories your mind is telling. Are they kind? Are they helpful? If not, you can choose again. Let your thoughts become gentle allies, not harsh judges. Let them point you toward peace, not anxiety. And if the mind becomes stormy, remember, you are not the storm. You are the sky in which it moves. Vast, clear, and undisturbed. Rest now, knowing that you can paint your inner world anew with colors of compassion, curiosity, and quiet joy. You have now walked gently through some of the Buddha's most profound insights, truths that reveal not just the nature of the world, but the nature of your own heart. You've seen that suffering is not your enemy, but your teacher, that nothing stands alone and you are never truly separate, that the self you've tried so hard to protect is more fluid than fixed, more open than you ever imagined, that the mind, when left unchecked, can shape your world with fear, but when awakened, it can paint it with peace, and that beneath the appearance of permanence lies a quiet truth. Everything changes, and in that change, there is freedom. To see clearly is not to escape life. It is to return to it more awake, more compassionate, more at peace. As you rest tonight, let these teachings settle like soft rain into the soil of your being. You don't need to remember every word. Truth has a way of blooming in its own time. Just trust that something inside you has already begun to shift. There is nothing more to do. Just breathe. Just be. Let the wisdom of clear seeing carry you into a sleep filled with spaciousness, softness, and quiet joy.